I think I'm going to disagree with my, my colleague that you guys are the ones that aren't involved. I think that young people are very involved, and more so, as was pointed out about that voting maybe is critical, but it's not the only one. Sorry, to go back to something that was mentioned earlier, you know, that there's an income gap that is sort of begun, and it looks like it's starting to grow, even most recent data. You know, when you've got the income gap, you suddenly aren't able maybe to afford college, and so there's the gap in students going to college. And when we talk about the greater opportunity and equality of condition, how would Tocqueville respond to seeing that?
I think that would be one of the characteristics that Tocqueville would be most shocked about. He actually, in Democracy in America, observed the income equality of America because our nation was just starting. There was a greater sense of income equality because most of our nation was were still farmers, and so we weren't that developed yet. However, because we've industrialized since then, there's an enormous sense of income inequality in the United States, and I think he would be shocked. And also, he mentioned it in the second volume of Democracy in America that this sense of income equality makes it so that we are more able to feel compassionate for each other because we're more on a common level. And I think this income inequality would erode that sense of equality between us.
But I have to slightly disagree with Lucy. Tocqueville was a very intelligent man. He was very well read, and I think he would understand the economics of the situation. Whereas America in the 1830s was an agrarian society where pretty much all farmers make the same amount of income. In modern society, we have it's been so globalized, especially through technology, we reward the people of our society who have the most skills, and actually the people who have less skill are not as rewarded as such, even though standards of living for everyone has increased. And the numbers are the Gini index has increased to 46 is the latest number, as opposed to 39 just 10 years ago. And so I think de Tocqueville would notice that a modern economy will beget itself to a greater income inequality, but I think he would praise America's efforts to try to guarantee a basic standard of living for all its citizens.
What are those efforts? What have we done to try to increase standard of living?
In America, I want to discuss this in terms of equality of opportunity and equality of condition. America has always prided itself through the American dream as having equality of opportunity for all its citizens. And especially in a modern sense, where America is such a wealthy nation, we believe, and I personally believe, that we should guarantee every citizen a basic equality of condition. While I don't believe we all should be exactly equal, and I believe that you should be able to get ahead based on merit, I believe through the original programs of the New Deal, such as Social Security and then in the Johnson's Great Society with Medicare and Medicaid, and so on, even to last month's health insurance reform. I believe that these basic Social Security nets are it's something that the government should be providing to its citizens to try to guarantee a basic standard of living.
Through the 14th Amendment, we see that the equality of opportunity is a prerequisite to any kind of equality of condition that can be provided. And I think de Tocqueville would admire, as Theo was stating, the ability to get ahead. And I think that the rags to riches stories that de Tocqueville would so admire, people coming to America and able to transform their own story. And I think that, but Tocqueville, although he would approve of equality of opportunity, I think that for equality of condition, he would agree that people should be able to get ahead.
Thank you.
Right.
The light should be pointed that direction, right? It's pretty hot in here, and you guys did a fantastic job. You know, to hear some of the things that you had to talk about in your introduction, it's obvious that you did a lot of study. And what's even more clear is when we went through questions and answers, that you understood the material and brought it back to real day. I thought it was specifically on the written testimony, bringing in Federalist 10 and the 14th Amendment, information like that to prove your point was important. I think we didn't hear you say anything about minimum wage or affirmative action, though in sort of the response to the question of what government has sort of done. We heard healthcare, though, which is, of course, a current event. I thought that was interesting. You did a really good job, though. Thank you.
I like the fact that you had some subtleties in there, that we would throw out some basic ideas and you would come back and make some distinctions, and I thought you did some they were very well done distinctions. I also don't ever want to be Madeline's secretary, because if I take down her words word per minute, she's got a record, I think, is getting things in, but they were understandable. Look around this room a little bit. You are among a very rarefied group of people who have had a chance to testify in this room. You ought to be proud of yourself just for having been here. I hope you'll come back, not as incriminated, but as the ones who can edify us in terms of making better decisions, and you're on a good trajectory to do that. So thank you very much.
Yes, I also enjoyed your presentation very much. I liked your opening statement that the values and principles that underlie our American democracy are still the same. Would love to have heard you expand just a little bit on that. I liked your reference to Putnam and his bowling alone up to a different conception of citizenship that Russell Dalton has brought about. Particularly appreciated your references to the Constitution. If I'd had a chance for another question, I would have come back and asked you for other evidence in particularly the Bill of Rights, so that the rights of petition and the rights of association and so on. Your enemy there was time, not your ability to answer the question. I thought your citing of the fact that as evidence of our devotion to the notion of equality, the barring of titles of nobility very specifically was good. And because you knew that the three of us are deeply involved in civic education, you see, you took the strategic move there by saying how important civic education was, and you could have persuaded us even more by another 1 or 2 sentences to just punch that into us and to the audience. Overall, a very fine presentation. You and your teacher are to be congratulated.